Tangier Island, only accessible by boat or plane. Sitting at about 3 miles by 1 mile, this unique island gained a special place in our hearts. But what we did not know when we first came to the island is that it is slowly sinking.
But once this section of land here is gone, the residents of Tangier have no hope.
Due to rising waters and coastal erosion, it is possible that in the near future, Tangier Island will no longer be habitable. The reality of this became especially devastating as we met the incredibly kind and hospitable people who live there, learned about the fascinating history, and had a wonderful time exploring this treasure of an island. We are so grateful to share our adventure with you today.
Nothing's quite open in this town yet, so we're just kind of waiting around. The weather ought to be interesting.
For today's adventure, we're starting out in Onancock. We're going to take a ferry to the island of Tangier. There's not a bridge to access this island and people still live on it. So we'll be here later to board our ferry, but first we want to eat some breakfast. Oh, thank you. You're sweet. Okay, here's the ferry. We boarded the ferry and met Captain Mark. He is a local to Tangier Island, and this used to be his crabbing boat. There was no ferry that would take people from Onancock to Tangier Island. So when he recognized that need, he decided to transform his boat and has been taking people to and from the island ever since. We made some super sweet friends along the way. It was about an hour and a half boat ride, and it was wonderful to get out on the water and experience how people from Tangier Island get to and from their home. And Marlon got a nice nap in as well. We officially made it to Tangier Island. Made it to the island. Right off the bat, we noticed that the mode of transportation was typically not by a car. We went to a nice little church service, and you can see after the church service the hustle and bustle of this little town and all of their creative vehicles. So this is the Tangier Combined School, and our captain told us on the way over that there's about 40 students and it's grades K through 12, and they all go to this school. Additionally, in the summer of 2006, the school was raised 5 feet to protect it from flooding. Alrighty, so we just went to a little church service, and then we started walking and decided we should go rent a bike so that we could cover more ground. We wanted to do a golf cart, but they were
didn't have any more.
So, bikes it is. So explore the island. I didn't know we were biking today, so of course I wore some flare pants.
Look, she got the parachute pants on and got them stuck in the chain link. Come on now.
We have a solution, and I think it's quite fashionable. Alrighty, hi ho, back to biking we go. bikes could take us.
Now it's time to walk. Oh my gosh.
We were told it was a time-consuming walk to the beach. So we were like preparing, and then I walked around the corner and saw this. Marlon almost didn't want to come. Could you imagine?
Let's not go.
Wow! This is I think my favorite day yet. It's just fascinating that people live here. Jennifer is a local here, and April grew up on the island.
Well, we left when I was younger, but I
Okay.
was here every summer
Wow.
that I could
She's
get
my
here.
husband's niece.
Okay.
He married my friend.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
we
really
were
cool.
friends first, and then became family.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what's it like living on the island?
Oh, it's wonderful. I mean, it's different from anything, that you're used to, but I mean, we have to, when we have a doctor's appointments or go to Walmart, we have to, but it's awesome. I mean, the kids are safe.
Here, you go to the beach. You can go riding in a boat, and then all
we
the
had
kids
lots
here.
of fun things to do
Yeah.
back then.
But all the kids here is like, why do you want to come here? When we were younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you want to come here? You got a mall and you got this, and this is heaven.
Does Amazon deliver out here?
Oh, absolutely.
They do.
They do?
I thought y'all were gonna say no.
No,
That's
that's where we do most of our shopping.
Okay. Wow.
Online, and
So
we get anything you guys get, we get here. Yeah.
That is so cool.
No DoorDash.
Wow.
Yeah. No.
Anything else y'all want to share? Or?
It's just a great place. It's different, but it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thank y'all so much.
All right,
For
thank
saying
Thank you.
So the island is about 3 miles this way and 1.5 miles this way. And back in the day, around 800 people lived here. But today, that number is closer to 400 because, as time goes on, I guess younger people, it's harder for them to stay and the population's just dwindling a little bit. But everyone that we have met is so kind. We are greeted with so much kindness. They thank us for being here. So that's been really sweet.
I'm Andy Langley.
Andy Langley.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Was not born and raised here, but been here 35 years. People always ask the question that you hear on the news being about us sinking and about sea level rise. This map was painted in 2008. This is an accurate depiction of what Tangier Island looked like in 2008. You go up here to the shark fin, I call it, about where that line is right there. Everything above that line is gone. Same thing right here, the crab claw. There is no crab claw anymore. That's gone. From there up to here, I call this affectionately the T-Rex head. Well, T-Rex has no head anymore. All of this area since 2008 is now washed away.
Wow.
If you look down here below the airport, we have a seawall that was put in 1990. This section of the island right here, we were losing 20 to 30 feet a year. But we need seawall here, going all the way up around this area and around to here. But when this section right here, it's called the uppers, it's uninhabited. But once this section of land here is gone, the residents of Tangier have no hope.
Okay, so you being a come here, meaning you're not from the island, what has been your favorite thing about living on the island?
What really solidified me being on the island, wanting to stay here, is in 2000. We'd already been here, say, 13 years, but my father passed away in January of 2000. There was a major blizzard all up down the East Coast, from Florida to Maine. Couldn't get off the island, couldn't go home to Louisiana to tell my daddy goodbye. So I asked the preacher we had at the time, Wade Creedle was his name, if I could go up to church and sit with the kids and the wife, and just during the same time they were having the stuff down there. And he said, yeah, no problem. Well, for the first 10, 15 minutes, it was just me and Lisa and the kids, and I was telling them stories about Dad and their granddaddy. And then the door started coming open. Now we're talking snow pouring down like crazy. And before it's over, 40 people were sitting in there with us in church. Didn't have to be there.
Wow.
Didn't have to come out in this raging blizzard. But they did, just to support us and hold us up. Somebody passes away in your family or somebody gets really sick, in about 2 or 3 weeks, you ain't got to worry about cooking. Because people either have something made at the restaurant for you, wingding plates or big vegetable plates or something like, or they'll just bring food to your house. And that's the biggest thing, how people will pour out. You know, it's just like one big happy family.
That's beautiful. So as you can see, Tangier Island is a special place with special people. And this is the moment when it really started to hit us about what's possible in the near future. Experts estimate Tangier is losing approximately 9 acres per year. As the day was coming to an end, we stopped at Four Brothers Crab House to get some delicious grub and milkshakes, and we also ended up meeting the owner's dad, who is a local of Tangier named William. So this is our friend William. He lives on the island, and his son owns Four Brothers, which is where we rented our bikes from and where you can get food and ice cream. And he was just telling us about his family, and there were 6 generations
living on the island.
6 generations living on the
But
island.
I mean, you know, it was we got married young. She was just 14. Our son Tommy here, he was born when she was 15. Her father, then it was his mother, and then it was her mother, and then her mother. It was 6 generations that live in one town, you know. My great-grandmother, Miss Virginia, she lived up in her 90s. So right after Tommy was born, Miss Virginia died, you know.
Wow,
She died, but we got a picture of it, you know, 6 generations.
that's remarkable. So you've lived on the island your whole life.
Born here and been here all my life. I enjoy it. I have my car on the mainland. I enjoy going, traveling. I've been to Africa, in England, in Germany. I've been to California, Florida. I have good friends out in Colorado. I enjoy traveling, but I always enjoy coming back home. I like being around the water. I have my boat. I walk away from my yard to my boat. Couldn't crab. I wanted a crab on the island, but I couldn't do it because I got seasick. But I do some part-time crab, and when it's pretty,
Yeah, when it's not too wavy.
when it's not too wavy, so that works out good.
And then you said you have 3 children and 18 grandchildren?
Yep.
It's amazing.
6 of them was adopted. But anyway, got a wonderful family.
We had a wonderful time chatting with William, and you may have noticed the lingering Elizabethan accent. This is typical from locals of Tangier, and we'll link a video below where you can hear a good example of this. But our time on Tangier had come to an end. It was time to hop back on the ferry and head back to Onancock. Guys, that was such a sweet day. The people, just the history of the island. I absolutely loved every minute of that.
It was really cool meeting the people there. That's probably my favorite part of the whole trip.
We met the sweetest man. His name was William, and we chatted with him for a little while, as you saw previously in this video. And it was pouring rain. And before we left, he had come back and he brought us goodies, souvenirs from the island. Look at this. He gave us this bag to put them in.
A couple photos. There's like 3 of them in here.
And then they'll find these glass jars on the island. So he gave us some of these, which I love stuff like this. This beautiful conch shell. So pretty.
Huge.
And he gave us this bag because it was raining, so it kept it dry. I would definitely say if you are coming through this area to take the time to go out to that island.
Make sure you stop at Four Brothers, because that's where we got the bikes, that's where we got lunch, and that's where William's son owns that place, and his daughter-in-law, and they're just solid people.
Yeah, super kind. I think I would have liked to stay there a whole weekend. It's a small island, there's not a ton to do, but there's enough, and it's a great place to go, slow down, and just be and take in the beauty.
Yeah.
The island may not be there in 100 years. They can't do anything to protect it, so makes you definitely appreciate it that much more when you